There are people who enter your life carrying smiles on their faces but storms in their spirits. At first they may look harmless. They may sound supportive. They may even speak the language of loyalty. But time reveals what words try to hide. You must understand this. Not every connection is sent to elevate you. Some people arrive as distractions. Some arrive as tests. And some arrive to teach you the importance of protecting your peace. One of the greatest mistakes people make is ignoring the warning signs because they are emotionally attached to potential. They keep hoping toxic behavior will transform into healthy behavior, but wisdom teaches us something powerful. When someone repeatedly shows you chaos, believe the pattern, not the promise. A toxic person will slowly drain your spirit. You will notice that after speaking with them, your motivation disappears. Your confidence weakens. Your mind becomes heavy. That is not accidental. Energy is contagious. The people closest to you either water your purpose or poison your progress. Pay attention to people who constantly criticize but never inspire. Pay attention to people who gossip about everyone around them. Because the me mouth that speaks poison to you will eventually speak poison about you. A toxic person cannot celebrate your growth for long. Your elevation becomes a reminder of their stagnation. Your discipline exposes their excuses. Your success irritates the insecurity they try to hide. And instead of becoming inspired by your light, they secretly hope you dim it. That is why you cannot share every dream with every person. Some people clap for you in public but compete with you in private. Some people stand beside you physically but spiritually hope you fail. And this is why discernment is a gift. You must learn the difference between people who genuinely love you and people who merely benefit from your presence. A healthy person brings peace into your life. A toxic person brings confusion. Healthy relationships produce growth, clarity, respect, and trust. Toxic relationships produce anxiety, fear, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. Never ignore constant disrespect. Never normalize emotional abuse. Never call dysfunction love simply because you are afraid to let go. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is walking away from environments that no longer honor your spirit. And hear this clearly, protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. You cannot grow in an environment that constantly tears you down. You cannot become your highest self while surrounded by people committed to your lowest version. Distance yourself from those who mock your dreams. Distance yourself from those who feed your doubts. Distance yourself from those who only appear when they need something from you. Your destiny is too valuable to be connected to constant negativity. The truth is, toxic people often reveal themselves through patterns, not single moments. They repeatedly lie, repeatedly manipulate, repeatedly disrespect, repeatedly create drama. And every time you excuse it, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable. But there comes a moment when you must choose growth over attachment, peace over chaos, purpose over distraction, because your life changes when your circle changes. The right people will encourage your healing. They will challenge you to grow. They will speak life into your future. They will celebrate your victories without jealousy. They will correct you with love, not humiliation. Never underestimate the power of being surrounded by genuine people. And remember this powerful truth: not everyone deserves access to your heart, your energy, your time, or your vision. Guard your spirit wisely, protect your mind carefully, and never feel guilty for removing yourself from places and people that continuously damage your soul, because sometimes the greatest breakthrough in your life begins the moment you stop entertaining toxic connections and start honoring your worth. Some people do not enter your life to build you. They enter your life to feed off your energy. One of the clearest signs of a toxic person is that every interaction with them leaves you emotionally exhausted. You walk into the conversation feeling peaceful, hopeful, and motivated, but you walk away feeling heavy, frustrated, and mentally drained. That is not something you should ignore. Energy never lies. A healthy relationship should not constantly feel like a battle for emotional survival. The right people bring clarity, encouragement, and balance into your life. Toxic individuals, however, create tension wherever they go. They complain constantly, spread negativity, criticize others, and focus on problems more than solutions. Over 10. Their mindset slowly begins to affect your own thinking. You start doubting yourself more. You lose motivation. Your peace begins to disappear little by little. What makes this dangerous is that emotional draining often happens gradually. At first, you may excuse their behavior because you care about them. You may tell yourself they are just going through a difficult season. But eventually, you notice a pattern. Every phone call becomes emotionally exhausting. Every conversation turns into drama, gossip, anger, or manipulation. Instead of feeling inspired after being around them, you feel emotionally empty. Toxic people often expect you to carry their emotional burdens while never considering the weight they place on your shoulders. They want your attention, your sympathy, your time, and your energy, but they rarely pour anything positive back into your life. The relationship becomes one-sided. You become their emotional support system while your own mental and emotional needs are ignored. You must pay attention to how people affect your spirit. Some individuals naturally uplift others. Their words encourage growth. Their presence brings peace. But toxic people leave behind confusion, stress, and emotional fatigue. Even when nothing dramatic happens, their constant negativity quietly drains your strength from the inside. This is why protecting your energy is so important. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your mind, emotions, and peace. If someone consistently leaves you feeling worse instead of better, that is a warning sign you should not overlook. Your emotional health matters. Your peace matters. And sometimes wisdom means creating distance from people whose presence repeatedly steals your joy, weakens your confidence, and drains the very energy you need to grow into the person you are meant to become. One of the most dangerous signs of a toxic person is their ability to manipulate through guilt. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they make you feel guilty for reacting to the pain they caused. They twist situations in ways that leave you questioning yourself, apologizing for things that were never your fault, and carrying emotional burdens that do not belong to you. These individuals know how to use emotions as weapons. They may remind you of everything they have done for you whenever you try to set boundaries. They may enact hurt when you prioritize your own peace. The moment you say no, they suddenly make you feel selfish, cold, or ungrateful. Their goal is not understanding, their goal is control. Guilt becomes the tool they use to keep access to your time, energy, and emotions. At first, this behavior can be difficult to recognize because toxic manipulation is often subtle. They may not yell or openly attack you. Instead, they use emotional pressure. They sigh heavily, withdraw affection, play the victim, or make passive comments designed to make you feel responsible for their unhappiness. Slowly, you begin to carry the emotional weight of keeping them satisfied, even at the cost of your own well-being. A toxic person rarely respects healthy boundaries because boundaries threaten their control. The moment you begin protecting your peace, they may accuse you of changing. They may say things like, "You don't care about me anymore," or "After everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me." These statements are carefully designed to trigger guilt and weaken your confidence in your decisions. Over time, guilt manipulation becomes emotionally exhausting. You start over-explaining yourself. You feel anxious about disappointing them. You constantly sacrifice your own needs just to avoid conflict or emotional pressure. Instead of living freely, you begin living under emotional obligation. Healthy relationships do not operate through guilt and emotional control. Genuine people communicate with honesty, respect, and maturity. They do not force you to abandon your peace in order to prove your loyalty. They understand that love without respect becomes emotional imprisonment. You must learn to recognize when guilt is being used to control your choices. Not every feeling of guilt means you are wrong. Sometimes guilt appears because you are finally breaking unhealthy patterns. Sometimes guilt appears because toxic people are no longer benefiting from your silence, your sacrifices, or your inability to say no. Protecting your mental and emotional health does not make you selfish. It makes you wise. And the moment you stop allowing guilt to control your decisions is the moment you begin reclaiming your peace, your confidence, and your freedom. One of the clearest signs of a toxic person is their inability to genuinely celebrate your success. They may smile in front of you, circa lap when others are watching, or offer polite congratulations, but deep inside, your growth makes them uncomfortable. Your progress becomes a reminder of the goals they abandoned, the discipline they lack, or the insecurities they try to hide. Instead of being inspired by your success, they quietly resent it. At first, this behavior can be difficult to notice because toxic jealousy often hides behind subtle actions. They may downplay your achievements by acting unimpressed. They may quickly change the subject whenever you share good news. Sometimes they give backhanded compliments that sound supportive on the surface but secretly carry negativity underneath. Statements like, "You just got lucky," or "Let's see how long that lasts," reveal more than they realize. A genuine person feels joy when they see you winning. They encourage your growth because your success does not threaten their value. But toxic people see life as competition. Every achievement you accomplish feels like a personal loss to them. Instead of supporting your dreams, they secretly hope you fail so they can feel more comfortable with their own situation. This becomes even more dangerous when you begin achieving goals they never expected you to reach. The same people who once ignored your efforts may suddenly become distant, critical, or strangely silent during your greatest moments. Their energy changes because your growth disrupts the version of you they felt superior to. Toxic individuals often prefer you struggling, doubting yourself, or staying small because it allows them to feel secure. As long as you remain beneath your potential, they feel comfortable around you. But once you begin rising, improving, healing, and succeeding, their hidden insecurity begins to surface. You must pay attention to who celebrates you when life is going well, not just who stands beside you during difficult seasons. Some people support you only when they feel stronger than you. The moment you begin evolving beyond their expectations, their hidden jealousy reveals itself through criticism, sarcasm, distance, or lack of support. This is why you cannot share every victory with everyone around you. Not every person connected to you is emotionally mature enough to handle your elevation. Some people love your company but secretly dislike your growth. They enjoy the comfort of your presence but become uncomfortable. Irritable when your potential starts becoming reality. Protect your vision around people who consistently minimize your achievements. Your purpose needs encouragement, not hidden resentment. The right people will celebrate your progress without envy because secure individuals are inspired by the success of others, not threatened by it. Toxic people often carry negativity wherever they go. No matter the situation, they always seem to focus on what is wrong instead of what is possible. Their conversations are filled with complaints, criticism, gossip, anger, and constant pessimism. Over time, being around them begins to affect your own mindset. What once felt like occasional negativity slowly becomes an emotional environment that drains your peace and weakens your motivation. These individuals rarely speak with hope or encouragement. They criticize others behind their backs, judge people harshly, and constantly point out flaws in every situation. Even during positive moments, they find a way to bring darkness into the atmosphere. If something good happens, they focus on the risks. If someone succeeds, they search for reasons to tear them down. Instead of inspiring growth, they spread discouragement. The danger of constant negativity is that it slowly changes the way you think without you realizing it. Human beings naturally absorb the environments they spend the most time in. When you are surrounded by people who constantly complain, you may begin complaining more yourself. When negativity becomes normal around you, gratitude starts disappearing from your life. Your energy weakens because negativity is emotionally contagious. Toxic people also thrive on drama. Peace feels unfamiliar to them, so they create conflict wherever they go. They spread rumors, exaggerate problems, and involve themselves in unnecessary chaos. Sometimes they even create division between people simply to feel important or entertained. Wherever they are, confusion and emotional tension usually follow. At first, you may try to help them by offering advice, encouragement, or support. But toxic negativity is different from temporary struggles. Everyone experiences difficult seasons, but toxic people choose negativity as a lifestyle. They reject solutions because they are more comfortable living in constant dissatisfaction. No matter how much positivity you bring, they continue feeding the same destructive mindset. Over time, constant exposure to negativity can damage your emotional and mental well-being. You may begin losing confidence in your dreams. Your peace becomes harder to maintain. You feel emotionally tired even when nothing major has happened. The environment itself becomes spiritually and mentally exhausting. This is why you must carefully protect what you allow into your mind and heart. The voices around you influence your perspective, your emotions, and your future decisions. Surrounding yourself with constant negativity will eventually limit your growth and weaken your vision. Wise people understand the importance of protecting their environment. They choose relationships that bring encouragement, wisdom, peace, and accountability instead of constant chaos and emotional heaviness. Because the people closest to you are either helping you rise higher or slowly pulling you away from the life you are trying to build. One of the strongest signs of a toxic person is their consistent disrespect for boundaries. Healthy people understand that every individual has emotional limits, personal values, private space, and the right to protect their peace. Toxic PO. And please, however, often ignore those boundaries whenever it benefits them. They expect constant access to your time, your energy, your emotions, and your attention without considering how their behavior affects you. At first, boundary violations may appear small and harmless. They may constantly interrupt your personal time, pressure you into situations that make you uncomfortable, or ignore your requests when you clearly express your needs. When you try to create space or say no, they often react negatively. Instead of respecting your decision, they may become angry, defensive, or emotionally manipulative. Toxic individuals often see boundaries as rejection because boundaries limit the control they have over you. They become frustrated when they can no longer dominate your emotions or dictate your choices. This is why they may accuse you of being selfish, distant, rude, or uncaring the moment you begin protecting your peace. But setting boundaries is not cruelty, it is wisdom. A person who truly respects you will also respect your limits. They will understand that your mental and emotional well-being matters. Toxic people, however, tend to push past your comfort repeatedly. They invade your privacy, dismiss your feelings, mock your standards, and pressure you to tolerate behavior that damages your inner peace. Over time, constant boundary violations create emotional exhaustion. You begin feeling guilty for protecting yourself. You start sacrificing your own needs to avoid arguments or emotional pressure. Slowly, your peace disappears because you are constantly adjusting your life to accommodate someone who refuses to respect your limits. This behavior becomes even more dangerous when toxic people normalize disrespect. They may laugh at your concerns, minimize your feelings, or make you believe you are overreacting. Little by little, they condition you to tolerate things you once knew were unhealthy. What should have been unacceptable starts feeling normal simply because it happens repeatedly. Strong boundaries are necessary for emotional health, personal growth, and self-respect. Without boundaries, toxic individuals will continue taking more than they deserve while giving little in return. They will consume your time, drain your energy, and slowly weaken your confidence. You must understand that protecting your peace is not selfish. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to create distance. You are allowed to remove yourself from environments and relationships that repeatedly disrespect your values and emotional well-being. The people who truly value you will never force you to betray your own peace just to keep them comfortable. Real respect honors boundaries instead of constantly testing them. Some toxic people do not reveal themselves through open hostility. Instead, they hide their control behind kindness, concern, and false support. They appear caring on the surface, but underneath their actions is a constant desire to influence your decisions, control your emotions, and shape your life according to their preferences. This type of toxicity is especially dangerous because it often disguises itself as love. At first, their attention may feel comforting. They may constantly check on you, offer help, or involve themselves deeply in your life. But over time, you begin noticing that their kindness comes with conditions. Their support is often tied to expectations. If you disagree with them, create distance, or make choices they do not approve of, their behavior suddenly changes. The warmth disappears and emotional pressure begins. Toxic people who secretly seek control often use guilt, fear, or obligation to influence you. They may act disappointed whenever you prioritize your own goals or relationships. They may subtly discourage your independence by making you feel guilty for growing beyond their influence. Instead of empowering you to become stronger, they quietly try to keep you emotionally dependent on them. This type of manipulation can be confusing because it does not always look aggressive. Sometimes it appears as overprotectiveness, excessive involvement, or constant advice that was never requested. They may claim everything they do is for your own good, while slowly undermining your confidence in your own decisions. The more dependent you become on their approval, the easier it becomes for them to maintain control. You may also notice that they struggle when you begin thinking independently. The moment you set boundaries or make choices without consulting them, they become irritated, offended, or emotionally distant. This reaction exposes their true motive. Genuine care encourages freedom, growth, and confidence. Toxic control seeks power over your emotions and decisions. Healthy relationships are built on trust and respect, not emotional domination. Real support does not demand ownership over your life. A genuine person wants to see you grow, even if your growth leads you in a different direction. Toxic individuals, however, often fear losing influence more than they value your happiness. Over time, hidden control damages your self-confidence. You begin second-guessing yourself. You rely heavily on their approval before making decisions. Your individuality slowly weakens because their opinions begin controlling your actions, emotions, and mindset. This is why discernment is so important. Not every act of kindness is pure, and not every supportive voice has healthy intentions. Pay attention to how people respond when you choose independence, establish boundaries, or pursue growth. True love respects your freedom. Toxic control fears it because your independence threatens the power they quietly hold over your life. In the end, the people around you shape the direction of your life more than you realize. Toxic individuals may enter quietly, but their influence can slowly damage your peace, confidence, and purpose if you ignore the warning signs. That is why Dom is not just about choosing who to love, but also choosing who to protect your spirit from. Never feel guilty for walking away from negativity, manipulation, disrespect, or emotional control. Your peace is valuable. Your energy is sacred, and your future deserves relationships that inspire growth instead of draining your soul. Choose people who bring light into your life, encourage your purpose, and help you become the strongest version of yourself. Thank you for listening, and remember this: protecting your peace is not weakness, it is strength. Keep growing, keep trusting your inner wisdom, and never allow toxic energy to steal the greatness that was placed inside you.